Barely a month after Nigeria opened its borders to neighboring countries, President Buhari tells President Talon of Benin Republic that all irritations must be resolved. And we bring you front row view of the ongoing showdown in Kwara State APC. Now, the standoff is being staged at the zonal level between the bigwigs. The Governor Abdulrazak, Ministers Lai Mohammed, Gbemisola Saraki, and other prominent political actors. But what exactly is the issue and what's the way forward? We'll find out tonight. Hello everyone, this is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I am Kayode Okikiolu. The presidential villa was a beehive of activities today as President Buhari played host to his counterpart from Benin Republic, President Patrice Talon. But this is not the first time both leaders will be meeting. In fact, they've had at least 4 of such meetings. The first was in August 2016, right after Mr. Talon was elected president. Then they met twice in 2018, and then a quick meeting on the sidelines of the Tokyo International Conference on African Development, exactly 8 days after Nigeria announced the closure of its border. So that meant that Benin Republic had to endure 16 months of a major blow to its economy as trade between both countries took a hit. In fact, the World Bank says informal trade between Nigeria accounts for 20% of Benin Republic's GDP. But the story is quite different today now that the borders are open. President Buhari is asking that our neighbors be good to us, just as we will be good to them in the areas of security, trade, and development. Well, both leaders have agreed to a cordial relationship, and you'll expect that this will trickle down to the borders. So that's politics for you at the international level. There's always diplomacy involved, but it's not quite the same with local politics. And you'll need to brace up for tonight's big issue as we enter a political terrain that is like none other in the country. But first, we have an update for you on the upcoming governorship election in Anambra State. It's now official. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has announced November the 6th, 2021. as a date for the conduct of the polls. INEC Chairman of Information and Voter Education, Festus Okoye, says the date is the outcome of a meeting by the Commission to deliberate on the activities of the conduct of the poll, as a tenure of Governor Willie Obiano will expire by March the 17th, 2022. So, again, that's another big event to add to your political calendar for this year. That's right, the countdown has begun. 291 days to go, and Channels Television will bring you all that you need to know in the build-up to that big one. Who takes over from Governor Willie Obiano? That's the real question. So, while we build up to that, let's get into our discussion for tonight. It has become a case study for students of politics. And if you followed the intrigues, the twists and turns of this political landscape, then you'll agree with me that the best scriptwriter and screenwriter cannot even come close to conceiving an equally intriguing storyline. Well, this is no story. It is the reality of Kwara State politics. A lot is happening now as I speak to you, and some of the heavyweights in the nation's political space are deeply involved. But first, let's give you a backgrounder, because to understand this, we need to take you through some of the key moments in the build-up. So, Kwara State originally has always been known as a state where the politics has been largely influenced by the Saraki family. But then that changed in February 2019 with the defeat of Senator Bukola Saraki of the PDP at the senatorial central poll by Senator Oluregbe of the APC, resulting into what you might call a new political era in the state. Well, the incumbent governor, Abdul Fattah Ahmed, also lost re-election thanks to the Otoge movement. And, of course, this saw the emergence of Governor Abdulrazak of the APC. Well, he did this with the support of the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, and Senator Gbemisola Saraki, the sister to Senator Bukola Saraki. So fast forward to January 2020. You must have seen that event. Governor Abdulrazak's government demolished Ile Arugbo, which is a property owned by the Saraki family. This, of course, caused quite a stir, and the case was taken to court. But back in the APC, the party dissolved its party structure nationwide in December 2020. And then, of course, in January 2021, which is this year, the Buni-led caretaker committee is said to have removed Mr. Bashir Bolarinwa as a party chairman and replaced him with Mr. Abdullahi Samari, his deputy. And as you'll expect, aggrieved factions rejected this removal. So, still in January, the APC youths protested and threatened to disrupt the registration. And a few days after, APC began reconciliation of the party leaders. But I'll be honest with you, there's so much that you can't see right there. So much underplays, undercurrents that have been going on. And tonight on the program, like I said, we're going to give you a closer view at what has played out and what might play out in the coming days. And joining us to break this down and help you get a sense of the context, we have Honorable Iyola Oyedepo, chieftain of Kwara APC. He joins us from our Abuja studio this evening. Good evening, and thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
It's great to have you. Now, there will always be that question about the root of this conflict. Well, we saw the governor of Niger State, who was appointed to mediate, saying that this is simply a communication gap type of conflict. But I'd like to ask, is that what it is to you and your faction?
Well, it's not strictly a communication gap among us in Kwara State. The crisis of the party is so fundamental. The Otoge movement was a collective effort. Though several people were in that movement for different reasons. 4 tendencies came together on the 1st of August 2018 to form the new APC. That is the tendency of Akogun, the tendency of Alhaji Lai Mohammed, the tendency of Fagbemi, where the governor now belongs, and the tendency of Bemi. So the problem of welding together the tendencies are making a party out of the 4 tendencies is the major problem. I don't see it as a communication problem. It is more of leadership failure. Leadership that cannot bring people together under an agenda that can take the state to the next level. So the problem is more fundamental to just say communication problem. It is leadership management problem. And unless we get over that, there might not be a way out in the party in Kwara State. But we're happy. Yesterday we were called, and the party is responsibly handling this matter. I'm sure if the way and manner it was handled yesterday is to be advanced seriously, we are likely to have a united front, and there will be no fear about losing the next election by our party in Kwara State.
Okay, that's also another big issue.
Leadership failure.
Right. The issue of the governorship election, the coming one, is also another big issue. But just to clear the air on some of the issues you have raised so far. So when you say that this is essentially a leadership management issue and not a communication gap issue, who specifically are you referring to when it comes to leadership? I mean, that you say is probably not handling this well.
Well, you see, when the party is formed, before we won election, the chairman of the party was the leader of the party. And he led us to victory. The victory we had in 2019 was unprecedented because we fielded 35 candidates, including the president of Nigeria. And we won all. It was a 100% win in that election. That election couldn't have been won on the merit of the candidate fielded. It was won by the effort of the party members, the party leaders, who were able to present some program to the people, and they were able to sensitize, mobilize, and organize the people for a credible election in Kwara State. Now, after the election and the governor emerged, he becomes the leader of the party. But there is always one big problem in Nigeria about governors being the leader of the party. Being the leader of the party does not mean that a governor will not subject himself to democracy and democratic practices and values. I think the major problem, therefore, is that while we are all to sit down and fashion out the type of government we want for the people of Kwara State, the party and the government is being run on factional basis. So that is not communication gap. In fact, it is more of no communication at all. Because the faction that is sought out, there's nobody communicating with him.
Well, Honorable Oyedepo.
But if we all sit down to consummate the program and then present it to the people, execute it, we will be in the best position to always jointly protect and defend the program of government. The problem is exclusion.
Okay, let me just also...
And when you say who is excluding,
right, you can land on that.
It is the governor that is excluding us at now.
Okay, now that you have established that, I'd like to also touch on one of the major bones of contention in this whole tussle, and that's the position of a chairmanship in the state. From where you sit, what is the state of the position of the chairmanship? Because I know that your faction, which is loyal to the Minister of Information and the Minister of State for Transportation, you have spoken against the purported removal of the chairman. The party at the national level seems to be backing his deputy for the position. So what is the position on that, generally?
Well, I don't want to say that the party at the national level is backing the deputy. We had a meeting where issues were more or less joined. But before we could even state anything, the party, as I've earlier said, responsibly, they are handling this matter. And I want to say that there was no basis for the issuance of a letter to another person when the current chairman is still subsisting. And it was said glaringly that the basis of issuing a letter to another person was in error because there was no basis for doing so. Our party is a party of law. Respect. We have respect for law. Constitutionality is not a situation where there will be a rule of the thumb. And when that one is obviously known to the leadership, they have decided that the governor of Niger State should now sit with the leadership of the party in Kwara State and provide an amicable settlement of the crisis. As at now, we are back to the status ante. So, which means the condition that was prevalent before we had the meeting yesterday, whereby the party chairman remained the chairman that was earlier sworn in, still subsists today. If there was no report on which a new letter was issued, that means the letter was issued in error. Well, if it was issued in error, it does not operate at all again.
Okay, well, Honorable Oyedepo,
and that is where we are now.
I think that point is taken because for you, you say that Mr. Bolarinwa still remains the chairman of the party in this state. So we would like to thank you so much, Honorable Iola Oyedepo, who is chieftain of Kwara APC. He is of the Minister for Information and Culture and Minister of State for Transportation's faction in this matter. I would like to thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us on the program tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you have listened to one side of that. We'll go on a break now, and when we return, we'll listen to the other side. That's only fair, so please stay with us. Welcome back to the program. It gets even more interesting as we're joined by Senator Sadikumar of Kwara North Senatorial District. He's of a faction, if I could say that, of Governor Abdulrazak. Thank you for joining us on the program tonight. Well, you listened to Honorable Oyedepo, so many allegations against the governor, but I know you want to respond to some of them, but also add to it one of the issues he raised. He says, well, yes, the governor is a leader of the party in this state, but he alleges that the governor has abandoned the other three tendencies that came together to support him to become governor. In fact, he said categorically that the governor has abandoned and is not carrying the party along. How do you respond?
Well, thank you very much. I don't think the governor has abandoned, other factions or the party, because I've been part of all of these crises from the beginning. And both ourselves, senators from Kwara State and the governor, we've made several attempts to try to resolve this problem. And the problem seems that it will remain an irreconcilable difference. And like, one of the elders from Kwara did say of the party that there are several tendencies, about 4, that form the party, and that the governor has abandoned other factions. I don't think that's what happened. The reality is that after the formation of the party, those tendencies, as much as possible, should be played down, and we should see ourselves as a single family in the APC. The moment the governor emerges as the governor, automatically he becomes the leader of the state and the leader of the party. Any other person trying to share power or not respecting the governor is not accepting the leadership of the governor in the state. And this is not acceptable because it's going to lead to a chaos in a society. That is why leadership is always seen as a serious matter, in fact, to a spiritual level, that whoever God gives leadership position, others should rally around such a person to support him so that he can deliver what he promised the citizens. This is what is the issue. It's not about abandoning, any faction. It's about refusing to accept the leadership of the governor in the state. And this is ordained by God. We should accept it and support it. Whatever you see happening basically is a result of both centrifugal and centripetal forces of interest that is refusing to accept the leadership of the governor. And to the best of my knowledge, the governor had tried to accommodate, to tolerate all these tendencies as much as he can. In fact, I'm aware that he has appointed even children of people who have disagreed with him that believe he has abandoned them. In fact, those who are supporting him today, their children are not in government. It is more of those who have children in government that are disagreeing with the governor today. So I don't know where we can talk of, being excluded in this.
Well, I don't think it would be fair to drop those seemingly big terms, centrifugal and centripetal forces, without explaining to Nigerians exactly what you mean. Who are those forces, centrifugal or centripetal forces, that are at play here? I think a lot of Nigerians would like to know.
Look, to put it simply, it means that there are people who are interested in the governor's seat. It's mostly about 2023 election, and there are those who are interested in having control of what happens in the state. Those are the forces I'm talking to, put simply.
Okay, do these forces have, you know what?
And this cannot happen,
Okay, let me just quickly take on another issue which was raised because of our time. So is the governor responsible for the purported removal of the chairman of the party in the state?
No, I don't think the governor is responsible. It is the party, the followers, citizens, stakeholders, elders, and in fact, everyone in the state that is worried that we have two leaders in a state. One, the governor, who is the first citizen and is responsible for citizens in that state, and our own party chairman, who is equally a leader, leading the party. These irreconcilable differences continue to stay without, giving way for peace. And we've made all efforts possible to resolve this. And it's causing so much distraction to the government, which we are all part of. And we have campaign promises that has to be delivered to the citizens. Even though we are doing the best possible, even in the most toughest circumstance, good governance is being delivered to Kwarans by this governor and by those of us who are representing our people. Now, we have to move forward. Something have to give. And that is why that decision was taken at the North Central Caucus level for this chairman to just step aside and allow, the deputy to take the responsibility of leading the party so that we can form a more united APC family going forward.
But what we hear from Honorable Oyedepo is quite different. He says that as things stand right now, Mr. Bolariwa remains the chairman of the party and not Mr. Samari. So what exactly is the case? Who is the chairman of the APC in the state?
Well, as things stands, the last count, Alai Samari has been asked to be acting, to be the chairman of APC. When we went to the National Secretariat yesterday, the decision was that, okay, let's go back to the North Central Caucus, led by the Niger State governor, to look at the complaint coming from the other side. And then that decision will be moved to the national level. So our understanding as things are is the person that has been asked to act is still the substantive chairman until the North Central Caucus comes out with anything different and is transmitted to the national body before you can change, who will be the new, who will be the chairman. But as things stand now, Samari is the substantive chairman.
So clearly that's another big issue for contention. But now we listen to the governor of Niger State saying that, well, this issue has now been moved to the zones, basically to start from there, because they say politics is local, isn't it? But if you listen to the other faction, and this is from a statement which was made, they say that we shall henceforth prove to those that are not popular at home, but rather rely on political manipulations from outside, that the game is up. So there are questions about the chances of the governor and his faction at the local level. So if we could wind up with that, the other faction believes the governor does not have much support at the grassroots. What do you say?
Honestly, this is laughable. Let me be honest with you. If anybody is popular at the grassroots level, I can tell you authoritatively, without any equivocation, that the governor is more popular than any popular governor that the state has ever produced. And I will tell you, honestly speaking, even those who are disagreeing with the governor today, they know that more than anybody. Because the governor has performed excellently well. He has kept to campaign promises. And the people are very happy. They've never seen it before. They've never seen the kind of humility. The governor has gone to almost every local government since he became a governor in the last 1 year plus months. He has contact with the ordinary people. He has contact with traditional rulers, the community leaders, women, youth. All he's been around. He's everywhere. He's not only having contact and relating with them, but he's performing. Water, roads, anything they ask for, he delivers. And anything he promised, he delivers. So it's strange to say that the governor is not popular at the grassroots. That's a strange and laughable statement. And I tell you something, whoever says that knows that he's joking, because there's nobody in Kwara that does not know the reality as it is. Look, honestly, this matter is surprising because we are running a presidential democracy. Can you imagine, for example, that despite the various factions that form APC, CPC, ACN, name it, after President Muhammadu Buhari emerged, There will be issues of tendency and dragging issue with the president of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari. It is strange. In a presidential democracy, it's unheard of. And for those of us who are representing the people, we promise our people good governance. And this governor is giving good governance to our people.
Okay, Senator
and
Omar.
he's our leader.
Right.
It is important that we follow our leader, we support our leader, especially where he's delivering what we promise our people.
Okay, Senator Omar, we have 30 seconds
chaos.
or less to close. Pardon me, but let me just quickly squeeze this in because we all know that this is in the build-up to the 2023 governorship election. So it's like 3-1, 3 against 1. Do you think that the 3 is enough to stop the governor from his bid for re-election?
Honestly speaking, nobody can stop the governor, and almost everybody knows that, including those who disagree with him. I can tell you that authoritatively.
Well, Senator
and that is clear.
Sadikumar,
Even in this support base, all 3 senators are with the governor. Out of 6 House of Representatives, 5 of them are with the governor. Out of 24 House of Assembly members,
Senator Omar, we still have years to build up to that election. So let's keep this for the days ahead. But we'd like to thank you so much, Senator Sadikumar, representing Kwara North Senatorial District. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that's our show for tonight, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kayode Pikelu. Do stay safe and have a good night.